Hello, everyone, and welcome to another installment of Huskies Greatest Games. We've got a good one for you today. Joining me, as always, assistant coach of the men's team, Nick Oliver, and one of his former teammates and SCSU hockey alum, Jimmy Murray. Guys, how are you doing today?
Doing well, Nick. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Coach Oliver, I want to start with you. The 2021-22 men's hockey season schedule has officially been released. That is non-conference and conference. And from the first looks of it, I'm excited. How do you feel about it? You have every single Minnesota hockey team in there. I bet you're ready to go for next season in May.
Yeah, I think it was a week ago today or yesterday that we were in the national championship game, or sorry, a month ago. So time's gone by quick, and I know we're all excited to get things rolling again next fall, and obviously some great in-state rivalries on tap for us with St. Thomas to get it going. Mankato, those will be good games. Obviously coming off our game we just played against them. Wisconsin here for two. Minnesota and Bemidji. So yeah, it sets up really well for us on top of an already and always tough NCHC schedule.
And Jimmy, as an alum, just kind of that knee-jerk reaction, maybe more from a fan's perspective rather than a coach's. You see the schedule. What do you like, and what game or series do you have circled on your calendar?
Yeah, I think it's really cool to see us playing every single Minnesota team. I don't know when the last time that happened was, or if it's ever happened. But I think definitely the Minnesota game would be fun for, some of us alumni and Nick's old buddies and teammates to get together when it's in the cities, and as well as hopefully going to St. Cloud. When we played them, I remember walking to the rink at the line was jammed to get in, and even during warmups, it was like the entire stadium was filled. So I hope that same thing can happen for the guys this upcoming year. And I'd definitely like to be in attendance.
I think it's safe to say you and I both, I am now a part of the I am an alum now. So I really do want to make it back to St. Cloud for those games, and maybe, thank you.
Yeah.
And Jimmy, just tell us a little bit about what you're doing now. Obviously we know Coach Oliver is on the bench alongside of Brett Larson. Tell the fans what you're up to nowadays.
Sure. So I run our business development, sales, and operations team for Karlov Street Capital, which is a private investment firm in Chicago. Focus really a lot on the real estate and growth equity, kind of private equity side of the finance world. I was formerly in wealth management, which is, deals more on the public side, which was fun, but I'd say the private side and what I get to kind of get my hands in is definitely what I was looking for. And it just took me a few years to get there. So it's been really cool.
Well, guys, how about we get right to it? We've got a game waiting. St. Cloud State hosting number 5 ranked in the nation at the time, the University of Nebraska, Omaha. You guys ready? So as we start the game, we get the first look at the starting lineups. Some familiar names, some still here in St. Cloud, most likely the brothers of Johnny and Easton Brodzinski. And you see Charlie Lindgren in net. Jimmy, what was it like to know that you have a goaltender like Charlie behind you?
Definitely makes you feel pretty good heading into every game. He was an absolute stud, and on top of that, a really great human being. So every game, it was you go in being pretty confident that he was going to save you a couple times and give us a chance to win.
And Coach, from a player's perspective, you were hosting a top 5 team in the country. And as an upperclassman at the time, what was the mentality heading into this series, which eventually came out very well for St. Cloud State?
Yeah, we always had some great battles against UNO. And for a few years there, they had some pretty good runs. And one year they ended up going to the Frozen Four. I don't remember if it was this year or maybe the year before. But yeah, obviously at this point in the year, they were having a great season. And we were still trying to find our footing a little bit, which we found later on in the year. But I think this game was a pretty good springboard for us as we started to make our push in the second half.
And now that you've gotten a taste of the coaching world, like I said, Omaha comes into this game ranked number 5. How good of a coach was Dean Blaze for the Mavericks?
Really good, really good. And I had an opportunity to play for him my first year of junior hockey in Fargo. And the one thing, and it's every Dean Blaze team, but they're gonna compete, they're gonna work, and they're gonna play with a ton of speed. And obviously, you see Jake Genzel out there right away, flying around, making a few plays. So yeah, outstanding coach.
And what was it like back then? You played, like you mentioned, you played for him for 1 year in juniors, but now you're his opponent. Was there any exchanges before or after the game, maybe after the series had concluded, just touching base one more time?
Yeah, if anyone who knows Coach Blaze is that he's as competitive as they get. So there wasn't a ton of conversing going on before the weekend was done or before games, but yeah, anytime we played him after the Saturday game, we'd always have a quick exchange and catch up a little bit.
And Jimmy, I want to gauge your perspective as well. It's a unranked team against the top 5 team in the nation. In a week leading up to a series like this, how were practices different maybe than a different week where it's not as highly touted as an opponent? Like, obviously you prepare hard every single week, but maybe a little bit harder since it is such a strong team.
Yeah, I think, and if I remember correctly, these were incredibly important games for us in the pairwise, and kind of we needed to win to, I think secure a spot in the tournament. And when you play in the NCHC, you don't really get any nights off, and being able to win games against teams as highly ranked is big time. And I think, as Ollie mentioned, it was a springboard for us. And I think there was a lot of emphasis in practice on just playing hard and focusing and making sure that we make the tournament for the 3rd consecutive year.
And now St. Cloud State on a 5-minute major power play, all you can eat. How important is it to get the first goal of the game, not only as a player but also a coach, Nick?
Yeah, it's huge, especially this early into a game, 5 minutes in. I just saw Jimmy get buried from behind. I don't know if you went down a little bit easy there, but you drew
it's probably a dive. Probably a dive.
So that's good, but no, for sure, especially in your home rink, you get an opportunity on a 5-minute power play. You gotta try to find a way to capitalize, or at the very least gain some really good momentum with some good shot attempts and scoring chances.
And as we look, I mean, you can see the wide camera angle right there. A lot of fans in the stands. St. Cloud State, obviously passionate about their college hockey. And Nick, as we look forward to next season with the best positive mentality, fans will be back in the stands, and you can get those season tickets at SCSUtickets.com. What's the mentality like as you prepare to have fans back in the Herb once again?
I think just excited. I know as a staff, we're really excited. Players are really excited. It was great playing a few games at home this year, but it wasn't the same. And I think that the energy and the fan involvement and the support around the program, it's what drives us, and it makes the Herb one of the toughest places to play in all of college hockey. So we're hoping we can get as many people in the building as we can next year for sure.
And Jimmy, what's it like for you to return to the Herb Brooks National Hockey Center just for, another game? And even though you've been out for a few years, just to come back, what's it like, and how special is it for you?
It's really special, and it's really fun. Nick and I have been good friends a long time, so to come in there and get to support him and watch, a place that you got to play for 4 years it's really cool, and I definitely love it and cherish it every time I'm back.
Coach, we just saw an arid pass go all the way through the neutral zone into your own defensive zone, and you get a little bit of a smirk there. How much of a killer is that in terms of momentum when it gets sent down the length of the ice, and that's usually what the penalty killing team is supposed to be doing?
Yeah, so I think it was Jimmy again making that bad pass. So that's what got my smirk going. But no, you're right. Maybe we should have better players on the ice on that power play right there.
Probably should have kept PP1 out there for the entire 5 minutes.
Yeah, keep Coastal.
Not let this power play out there.
Yeah. No, it's part of it, right? I think as you get 3 minutes into a 5-minute major now, again, I talked about momentum, and you want to try to sustain zone time and sustain shot attempts, and you're not always gonna capitalize on power play. That's just the percentage of it. But hopefully here, obviously, we can get a little bit more set up and get some pucks towards the net.
Jimmy, was there ever like a wavering moment in your mind? You've seen almost 4.5 minutes, or excuse me, 3.5 minutes of the power play elapse without a goal. Are you starting to get nervous and forcing more shots, or are you still focused on getting into the middle of the ice and putting good shots on net?
I think you definitely start to grip your stick a little bit tighter when you haven't gotten much going in a 5-minute power play, and now there's almost a minute left. But I think going back to when we played there, our power plays were always so good that you could usually count on this type of group to score a goal.
And lots of intricate passing going top to bottom, and obviously St. Cloud State just capitalizing. We talked about the long elapse, but now you get the first one. You see the fans. You know that the Herb is rocking. How much momentum does that bring to you? Scoring one, and you still have 61 seconds left for another power play opportunity. Jimmy?
A ton. That's my boy, my roommate for 4 years, scoring that goal, Ethan Frau. Hell of a player. This first power play is so talented. It's definitely a huge momentum swing in the game, and to get that going, especially that early and still with a minute left, was really important.
So now we're going to fast forward a little bit further into the game. Omaha's Avery Peterson in the box for cross-checking. And now another power play opportunity for St. Cloud. Nick, as a player, how much did you want to build and capitalize on the Omaha mistakes?
Yeah, that's got to be your mindset for sure. I think, especially with this Omaha team, anytime you have a chance to extend a lead, especially on your power play, just considering that 5-on-5 is so tough to score, so you really do have to bear down and take advantage of these chances, and especially when you get up one, and not just be comfortable and sit on that lead.
And you mentioned earlier in the last Huskies power play the statistics of it. Statistically, you're not supposed to score. You're not expected to score every single time. And you just scored again twice on the power play. A little bit of an anomaly in terms of statistics, but now you hold a 2-goal lead, and it doesn't look like Omaha's really quite matching the level of intensity that you guys have brought to the table. And Jimmy, where is your head at mentally right now? Obviously, you might remember how the game went, but right now in the moment, you have a 2-goal lead against one of the top teams in the nation.
Yeah, you're feeling really good, but I think, again, just to reference playing in the NCHC, that games can turn quickly, and just kind of got to keep your foot on the gas. There's still a ton of time left in the game.
And Nick, as we flash forward now, Huskies on the kill for the first time that we have seen on Huskies' greatest games. So now in the second period, what's the mentality like? It's a 2-goal lead. Some call it the worst lead in hockey. How much of importance is it to not let Omaha score here?
Yeah, big momentum play in the game, especially just about 4 minutes ago in the second period. So the goal and the thought is to get to the break probably right now, get through the kill, have a good last 2 minutes, and get to the intermission up 2 going into the third at home, which you really like your chances in that case.
I assume that was a bad call too. I saw that guy in the box. Can't imagine he actually took a penalty.
Man, I don't know if this is a Huskies' greatest game or just rip on Jimmy day to day. Man, sorry about that, Jimmy.
No, I'd probably prefer this than a game where I probably luckily scored a goal or something.
And is it to you? Do you remember this for maybe the blunders that we have touched on, or are those just in the past and you focus on the big moments of what was this game?
Yeah, short memory. I don't remember these blunders at all.
Almost halfway, or you're over halfway through. You're almost done with the penalty kill. You can see those red sweaters just flying around the ice. Nick, do you remember how good your penalty kill unit was that year? You gave praise to the power play unit, but how hardworking was this team on the kill?
Yeah, I think if I remember back correctly, I think our power play was probably a little bit ahead of where our penalty kill was. But no, I think teams that kill penalties well, they obviously have guys that can buy into those roles and effectively execute those roles. And these are just big momentum points in a game where you have a chance to shut a team down for 2 minutes and really steal that momentum back that maybe you lost getting into the box. So yeah, they're big plays, obviously, big moments.
Charlie Lindgren making a phenomenal save, one after another, to keep a goose egg on the board for the Mavericks. But Nick, you're almost to the second intermission. What's the balance like of looking at the clock and knowing that you only have a little bit more than 20 minutes to knock off a top team in the nation versus just staying focused and playing your game?
Yeah, and Jimmy referenced it, but short-term memory, and when you're playing great teams like this in big games, it's you have to keep playing and you have to keep pushing for goals, and you can't sit back and protect leads, because especially like this UNO team, so dangerous. Guys like Genzel, guys that could get up and down the sheet pretty good and make plays. So you have to kind of take it one little segment at a time. And right now our hope and thought is to get to the period break at least up 2.
And Jimmy, you guys have said his name twice. Jake Gensel, a Stanley Cup champion now, but in this game, he was a sophomore in Omaha. What was it like to play against him? And obviously, we've seen how much his talent has carried him in his professional career.
He was pretty unbelievable, I think, the entire time he was at UNO. He's a total stud, and as you said, it's carried over into the NHL. I think he's even top 10 in scoring this year, which is really impressive. And as we'd go over other teams' lineups on Thursday, he was always a name that Bob would circle just because of his talent level and compete and kind of everything he brought to the table.
Now another St. Cloud penalty. This one would potentially carry over into the third period, but Nick, you've got one down already. But then the second one goes in. They've cut the lead in half. What's the response now as you near intermission?
Yeah, obviously tough goal to give up in that situation. You can't keep putting good players and good teams on the power play like that. But now it's you've got a 1-goal game, and you kind of have a minute 46 to put the pedal down and get to the break, right? And I think, with our guys now, we talk about it a lot, like shift after a goal, and whether you score or get scored on, your next shift is got to be 5 guys on the same page, ready to get back out there and get back on our toes.
So now we're going to flash forward. We're halfway through period number 3. Jimmy, you're still holding on to a lead at the moment. Is the focus now to put one in the net and kind of put the nail in the coffin, or are you just going to try and keep the puck away from Omaha as much as possible?
I think with this much time left in the game, well, there's a goal, but I think with this much time left in the game, you want to continue to, kind of execute on your game plan and play the exact same way that you were, because I think if you go into a defensive shell, it typically doesn't work out the best. And Nick, you can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think at this point, you got to just kind of keep the pedal down.
No, you're spot on, man. You're spot on. You got to keep playing. Keep pushing. The best defense is having the puck in the offensive zone, right? And keeping the puck away from their top players and make them defend and wear them out to defend. So by the time they do get it, they don't have as much juice to go play offense. So, Jimmy's spot on.
Oh, what a pass, Nick.
Look at those hands. Hey.
Not bad. Okay, Stormy, not surprised he didn't bury that one.
As you guys are watching this game, what kind of memories come back to you? You guys talk about Ben Storm there. Jimmy, you gave some love to Ethan Prow at the beginning of the show. How strong of bonds did you guys build here at St. Cloud, and how much do they still mean to you today? Jimmy, we can start with you.
Yeah, we had a really close team all 4 years I was there, which was a ton of fun. Definitely bonds you create for the rest of your life. I'm still really good friends with a lot of guys, obviously Nick included. Nick and I, not during the season, try to see each other a fair amount, and it's just really special, really fortunate to have gone to a school where we got to be such a close team, because I don't think that always happens.
And Nick, what about you? Obviously, we can talk about close teams. Did you see any correlation to this year's team as well? Obviously, it's going to take a special team to get to the Frozen Four. But before we get there, Omaha scored their third unanswered goal. This one right off the face-off. Took 2 seconds on the power play. Nick, do you remember Coach Motzko on the bench? Was he fuming and right on your guys' neck, or did he just kind of have a calm response and say, guys, let's get this done? Do you remember what his response was?
Not specifically. I can't imagine he's happy with us right now. Obviously that's, like I mentioned earlier, you can't put good teams on the power play this many times. And if you do, you have to find a way to get the job done. Obviously, as a penalty kill, you give up 2 goals off face-offs. That's pretty rare. So, yeah, I can't imagine he's too pleased with the boys in red right now, but he's probably pushing us for a response.
And Jimmy, you kind of talked about you don't want to shift your mentality as we get into the final 4 minutes of the game. You don't want to go into the shell, but now you're playing from behind. How much different is your style of play in these last 4 minutes?
I think it's got to be all-out attack. Probably not too different from how we would normally be playing, but maybe just a little added emphasis on D jumping up into the play and trying to create a little bit more. But otherwise, probably not too different.
Gives to Prochnow. Approaching 3 minutes to go in regulation.
And as you force your way through the neutral zone, St. Cloud just going tic-tac-toe as Blake Winicky, a freshman, ties the game at 3. Nick, what do you remember about this freshman class? That's a big spot for a freshman, Blake Winicky.
It is. See Joe Raycamp with the speed busting through the neutral zone there. But yeah, great freshman class. Obviously, you had Blake in there. You had Pat Russell in there. He's played games in the NHL. Blake's still playing down in Florida. You had Jed Peterson in there. So I'm probably missing a guy or two. But yeah, great class, and I think that was a big piece. And I think any good team that you go through in college, you have to have freshmen that can step up and contribute. And Jimmy's class actually is probably the best example of that with Jimmy and Kosala and Brodzinski and Prow and those guys that just step in right away and they make that seamless transition where, especially at this point, you're counting on those guys for big minutes and obviously making big time plays like Blake just did.
And now it only took 16 seconds and you have regained the lead. Jimmy, what's the response now? Obviously, you can see guys are just pumped up as Morley gives you guys the lead. Now, what's the message to finish off these last 2 minutes and 48 seconds?
I think to completely lock it down, get pucks deep, and make sure nothing's getting on net. And then, was this a Friday or Saturday night?
This was on Friday night. Lots of replays here. I think this one did eventually go underneath the tent, so to speak. Referees were giving this reviews as it wasn't a clean shot that went in. But, on a Friday night, you come out and kind of punch Omaha in the mouth. If you can finish this one off, how big does that shift your series as you turn to Saturday?
It's huge. Like I said, I think lock it down. Nick, we had to discuss with the official there. I'm sure you were very kind. But yeah, I think it's huge. You get 2 goals that quickly late in the game. You lock it down and you get your rest and move on to Saturday to hopefully get the sweep.
And now we've seen it. It is confirmed. David Morley giving the Huskies the lead. Nick, it was kind of a whirlwind of emotions, a lot of ebb and flow in the game. But now, where is your mentality at on just finishing this game off?
Yeah, I think, this is a great example of just a great college hockey game where you've got great players on both teams and there's going to be plays made both ways, and you just have to stick with that and be comfortable with that. And so for us right now, it's trusting our guys that we're going to be able to get it done here for the last 3 minutes. And like Jimmy mentioned, lock it down and really limit some chances around our net.
And Jimmy, every game the Herb is loud, but where does this rank on your list of loudest Herb Brooks moments that you've been a part of, or whether that was a player or a fan?
16 seconds
I'll
apart.
say top 10.
Here in the third period.
Top 10 for sure.
Huskies couldn't get it out.
And Nick, I mean,
First man to it'll be Murray.
I'll ask you the same question. You've been a player, you've been a fan, you've been a coach. Where does this rank for you?
Mavericks keep it in, but Daly gets a second.
Well, I don't have my audio on right now, but looks like the people are pretty loud. But no, obviously, I think like our crowds at home are so great, and especially in the people that come to the games know hockey, and they appreciate good hockey. So, I would have anticipated that this would have been, no different than any other big come from behind game for us, where they're probably loud and really into it.
And, plenty of opportunities for St. Cloud State fans to get excited and show their school spirit against all of the Minnesota college hockey teams. Again, get your season tickets, Husky fans, SCSUtickets.com. Go do it right now. They're going to go quick. And now, we see the 10th of the second on the board, almost getting a second goal to give you some extra insurance in the final minute of the game, Jimmy. But, you can see a Husky and a Maverick pinned against the boards. It might be a little play, but how important is that to killing 4 or 5 seconds off the clock in the last minute?
It's huge. And what better guy to do it than Russ, big body down low, who is always really good at protecting pucks, and that's definitely a recipe for a win.
Picks it up in behind. Along the back wall.
And with that pin in your offensive zone, it hemmed the Omaha goalie, unable to get to the bench for the extra attacker for Omaha. So now, Nick, 13.8 seconds. Couple of goals have come off the face-off for Omaha. Do you kind of stack that what would be your right side of the face-off circle to eliminate space in front?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, this looks like a pretty good normal alignment for us. But yeah, it's obviously starts in the dot, and then everyone being on the same page, knowing what our coverage is, and great job there protecting the front of the net and getting to that final horn.
And we see the clock hit 0, obviously, and rightfully so. Husky fans and players alike ecstatic about a Friday night upset over Omaha. And to play spoiler alert, you guys would go on, get the sweep. You would win 2-0 on Saturday. But as we wrap it up, Jimmy, how much did this fuel you guys for the rest of your season?
I think a lot. I think it was a huge momentum shift for us. Is the previous 2 years we were always ranked pretty high and had obviously done well in the tournament too, and I think we'd struggled a little bit at times this year, but I would say this weekend was definitely, and just to allude to again what Nick said earlier, a springboard for us into the final part of the season and into the NCHC tournament and on into the NCAA tournament.
And my final question as we wrap this up, Nick, I want to ask, Jimmy talks about that springboard moment. What was your team's springboard moment this season as you went to the national championship for the first time in program history?
It's a good question. I think, a moment that our staff looks back to is actually a game where we didn't play very well. And we went up to Duluth, second to last game of the regular season, and got our ears pinned back pretty good. And I think that was a bit of a wake-up call for our group on kind of how we needed to go about things the rest of the year. And I think that instilled a certain, compete level with our guys and a certain battle level. And yeah, we were able to get on track a little bit and obviously string some games together and play well in the league tournament, play well down the stretch, and obviously all the way to the final game out in Pittsburgh. So yeah, in any good season, you have to go through some hard stuff to learn what you have. And I thought that's what our team did a great job of this year, responding through all the adversity that we faced.
Well, guys, that'll wrap it up here on Huskies Greatest Games. Nick, Jimmy, thank you for joining me this afternoon. It was a great time to just sit down, talk some hockey, and watch a great Huskies win. Thanks again to our sponsor, Preferred One, for sponsoring this episode. And finally, get your season tickets at SCSUtickets.com. You won't want to miss it. Guys, thanks again. Signing off, I'm Nick Spiliopoulos. As always, go Huskies.